Greetings, everyone. I'm Guy Monroe, the Charisma Coach, and I am a voice coach. And this is what I do. I am a stutterer who speaks smoothly and have found ways to give you guys solutions, and I will share that with you. And my guest, Erik, would you mind introducing yourself, please, and telling us a little bit about yourself?
Hey everybody, and hi Guy, thank you so much for having me. I'm Erik. I am a life coach and a hypnotherapist, and my mission in life is it to help as many people as possible to find their true authentic selves, and that is, in my opinion, key to true happiness. And I have some experience with people who were stuttering or had some speech impediments, and I was able to help them. And this is how I actually came onto some groups with people who have stutter and am now offering my help.
Excellent. Thank you so very much. I was very excited when you were on Cookie's group and the insight and the discoveries that you found out. And I can't wait to hear what you have found in working with stutterers, what you've discovered. And can you tell us a little bit about what you do and how you do it and working with stutterers and what you've discovered?
Yeah, so I've been in the life coaching business for 3 years now, and I saw that helping with life coaching was it's like psychotherapy. It takes time. When people came to me with, let's say, anxiety or with self-esteem issues, or well, life coaching is good with goal setting and goal achievements. When people came to me, then it took some time, like it took at least 10 sessions to be able to help somebody to reach their goal. And then I came across RTT, which is rapid transformational therapy. And that is a method invented by Marissa Peer, who some people might have heard about. She is very famous in the hypnotherapist area and or psychotherapist because she has this method, this RTT method, has earned so many awards. She's from Great Britain, and she has moved about 30 years ago to Los Angeles and was helping stars, rock stars, athletes, Olympic athletes, TV stars, to overcome their issues. And those issues were primarily in the beginning when she just started working. It was all about eating disorders. And I'll come to stuttering a bit later. Just have to cover the some background. And then she found out when working with people with eating disorders that it all basically comes down to not feeling enough, not feeling enough, not feeling lovable, not being able to recognize and see their own worth, and not being able um, basically to not being able to be authentic, and not being lovable is basically, or not, the feeling of not being enough is, in her opinion, and she wrote a book about this, is the basic issue and the actual underlying cause of so many problems. One of them was, many actually, there are different kinds of eating disorders. But being able to help people to learn that they are enough, to truly believe that they are enough, made it possible for her to help so many people to overcome their eating disorder and eating issues and overweight issues without any diets. It's not about diets. And that's what she saw. And after, I think, like 30 years, she decided to give this knowledge further, to give it, to teach it other people. And it actually, within those years, it became much more than helping people with eating disorders. She was helping people with all sorts of disorders, with addictions, with anything to do with anxiety. And that's how she also had or has a lot of experience with people with stutterers. So when I found her, for me, it was important that she said, I saw a TED talk from her, and she said something like, words shape our reality. If we change the words, how we speak to ourselves, that's basically our inner monologue. If we change our inner monologue, we change our reality. And that's what spoke to me totally. And that's why I decided to go on her course. And here I am now. And basically, because I saw that she is not really having a niche, I thought I will try also not to have a niche and just have people come, just try anything, all topics that do arise, and see how RTT helps. And that's how I came. Well, two people came to me with speech disorder. One had that speech disorder since his very early childhood. He couldn't remember, consciously he couldn't remember when that started. And the other was she had an accident with a big brain injury, after which she wasn't able to speak at all. And then with help of speech programs, she learned to speak, but she still had speech impediment. And I was able to help both of them in one session. It's difficult. I wrote in a post of mine that I help them cure it. I see now that it's difficult to use the word cure because you can only use it if you can really see that, let's say, after a year, they're still fluent, let's say, right? So we'll have to wait that time. But what they both of them said was that they became so much more confident, calm, self-assured, and feeling much more of self-love and authenticity. And that helped them to relax more and be able to talk and to speak fluently. And that's why I came to think that I am able to help people who stutter.
I love that very much. We've got Arthur is sending us some communications here. Let me just fire these up here. Let's see. If people have insecurities, how can we achieve the opposite from negative to positive? And if your program was free, I'd be with you, but why charge for something that isn't guaranteed? This is very interesting. Um, and let's see, what's the other thing? Let's see, the other thing is, if you've been on the course, I'm not sure what on the course means. Why does this make you qualified to work with people who stutter? It's very interesting to me, and I'd like to address that before you do. Um, this is a fascinating thing to me. People who are involved in coaching, um, this notation about qualified to work with people like who stutter, as if it were, of course, one would have to take the position that stuttering is a medical condition. An industry is built around stuttering, but you have to understand there are people in the world who don't view stuttering as a medical condition. And there are a number of stutterers that don't view stuttering as a medical condition. Uh, it's almost like there's an industry that's built up that says that stuttering is taboo or it's precious or these people are victims or this is a medical situation and you're dealing with people with broken arms who have liver conditions or something along these lines. And that would have to be believed if it was true. Because what I would have to say, in all honesty, is that Arthur, is that it doesn't explain. You're not explaining why millions of stutterers walk away from stuttering every year, and you're not explaining uh, why I speak smoothly and I'm a stutterer. And I've mentioned about vocal law and language law and self-love and facing fear and all these requirements as just as a human development requirement. Not that stutterers are separate from the rest of humanity, or that stutterers' suffering is different than other people's suffering. This whole pigeonholing kind of thing is very interesting to me. Um, so, Erik, take it away. What are your thoughts on this exclusivity and these notions, which are very odd to me? Don't we all suffer? Don't we all have fear and anxiety? I don't understand. I'm confused.
Well, in my opinion, my experience is if I'm nervous, I start to stutter. It does not always, but sometimes it happens. It doesn't mean that stuttering comes from anxiety only. I don't claim that at all, and I don't know, and I don't actually. It doesn't matter for me where stuttering comes from, because if helping a person to overcome their anxiety helps them to stutter less or even stop stuttering at all, then why bother about thinking what caused it in the physical way? Because what RTT does, it doesn't care about the origin, about the genetical origin, if there is any, because there are genes which are responsible for many different things, and there's also a way. What's that? I forgot what's the science called. Uh, it's epigenetics, I think.
Epigenetics?
I think it is, which is all about. It's new now that the scientists find out that it's possible for adult people to turn on and off specific genes which already are there, which are on or off in that specific manner, how they are now. And it's possible through environment, through our beliefs, through our um, actions to influence our own gene expression. And if that is true, I don't know if it's true, but that's what the new science is about. If that is true, that is incredible, that is magnificent. And what I can answer to the question about if my program was free, my program isn't free because it's not a program. Let's start with
Well,
that.
let me just jump in there and defend you. Okay. So
Okay.
everyone, let's drop the whole free thing. That is bullshit. Okay. Speech pathologists, they charge money. It's not a free thing. Speech therapists, they charge money. It's not a free thing. People who help other people, they charge money for it. So let's drop the whole free thing. I hear this. I don't understand. There's some kind of sainthood. Like I guess it's either it's not valuable or it's okay because it's a hobby at that point. I'll just say this. In the real world, people provide services to other human beings and they're held accountable. They either provide results or they don't. That's
Mhm.
it. And you have a transaction between two people. Now, if an individual is working with an individual and receiving support from them and it's working, it's a home run. And if it isn't working, they're going to discontinue working with you. That's all
Mhm.
there is to it. If they're receiving benefit, this is a great thing. And I think the thing that I want to share with people is that um, if something is working, people keep using it. People experiment. People keep
Mhm.
using things, and they try to be better at what they do, and they experiment with different things. What are your thoughts on the notion of of individuals working together, and if they're providing value, great. And if they're not providing value, well, it's all going to end.
Well,
You know,
exactly. What I offer is I offer in one session. One session is a hypnosis session. And that's where we speak with the subconscious mind. That's where we let the conscious mind wander and relax, because that's the critical mind. And the critical mind is the one who, or which, causes the person to question everything, to be tense. And what I saw is when I speak with the person in hypnosis, I directly speak with their subconscious mind or unconscious mind, and they're much more relaxed, and they speak what they truly believe. So in that session, we discover things which make, for example, if it's about anxiety, which make the person experience anxiety on the daily basis, let's say. We find the root cause of that. That means we find the situations, mostly in their childhood, mostly before they were 7, when an imprint was built. Something has happened, something which was too difficult to cope with for a child. And then an adult was there who behaved inadequately somehow and didn't offer that child connection, love, support, which was required at that moment. That's how a negative imprint is built. That's how negative beliefs can be built. Something like, if my mother didn't pay attention to me at that very moment, then something that she did pay attention to is much more important than I am. So I'm not important. So I'm not lovable. I'm not worthy. I'm not enough. And that goes on, and that is going to stay forever. That's the belief, and that really stays. The belief stays. So in such a session, we find out such a situation, we change the interpretation of this situation, because that is what is required, because we can't change the past, and that is not required. So we change the interpretation of the situation. We find 2 more situations like that, so we work at least with 3. And then we install new beliefs, new positive beliefs, because normal conventional hypnotherapy works just or almost just with affirmations, just positive stuff. And the RTT is a psychotherapy within hypnosis. So please consider it as an offer of psychotherapy within hypnosis. That is what makes it much faster. And that's what makes it possible to help a person in one session where about 15 to 20 psychotherapy sessions would be required. Right? And then you would get a personalized audio recording for you to listen to every day for at least 3 weeks, a bit longer if you require, to basically to get it into a habit, to get those positive affirmations which are personalized for you, for the person who comes, to help support you in situations, or not even let those situations arise where anxiety would come up, where panic attacks would come up. I had several clients who came to me, not stutterers, but who came to me with panic attacks, with suicidal attempts prior to the session, and which went away after just one session so much calmer, so much better off. And they were working with psychotherapists for weeks and months. So that helps. And if after a session a person told me, you know what, it was absolute rubbish, it didn't help me, I didn't feel it, I didn't feel supported, I didn't feel any connection to you, then I'd gladly give the money back, because I want to help That is my desire. That is my goal. So, not just one more thing.
Sure.
It doesn't mean that every person who has a speech impediment has it because of anxiety. I'm not saying that at all. There are people who are very confident and still stutter and are proud of it, and that's wonderful. I'm all for accepting who you are, accepting and living your full life. But if you see that you experience anxiety attacks, panic attacks, and you especially have stuttering issues or more stutter when you are more anxious or you feel like people are judging you, and you have fear of being rejected and social phobia, then I totally can help.
So this is very fascinating to me. Arthur Young has a excellent question, and that is this. Um, let's talk about more about self-love and the importance of it. And also, his question is: if people have insecurities, how can we achieve the opposite from negative to positive? So, if a person has this negative lens, is it possible to flip it
Mm.
into a positive lens? What are your thoughts are on that and self-love, that sort of thing?
Well, I guess, and I know, and maybe Arthur and you are maybe familiar with Martin Seligman's work. This is about positive psychology, and he's amazing. Just Google him. He's wonderful, or watch some videos with him on YouTube. He's a professor, and he's basically the founder, the inventor of the positive psychology, and he has done so much more, a lot of research on the topic of what is actually what is happiness, and why would some people be more positive in life and some others are more pessimistic and more negative. There's a lot of research done on that, and he wrote a book about this, and that he's writing all the he brings all the statistics there, so they're very interesting. So having read that book, and to answer your question is, you can't just take any person and say, okay, you tell me that in your life you are a complete pessimist and you only see the dark side of life, and now in one session I will make you to an optimist. I don't think that's even desired. But in an RTT session, I would find out what are the negative beliefs about yourself that you have, and what is the reason. We would handle the reason. We would address the reason why why, when, and where those negative beliefs were born, came into your life, basically. And we would flip that. Yes, we can say that. Because we would work on the interpretation the client had in their childhood to a situation which was too difficult to cope with. And they made wrong assumptions about themselves, stating, for example, that they're not worthy, that they're somehow less than someone else, worse, less valuable. And we would change that. And there was another question, why, if that works, shouldn't other doctors and GPs work with that? Absolutely, absolutely. And they do. I think every 3 or 4 months, Marissa Peer starts a live course, and there's always a live event, and there is online. You can learn RTT also online, and doctors, psychotherapists come, and I have met so many there on a live event in Berlin, October last year. People do learn this technique, and they use it It's just been there. It's been around. It's been invented, I think, in 2009. And if you take it apart, there is nothing absolutely new. It's the combination. It's like if you bake a cake. There's been cakes on the planet for thousands of years, and in all countries there are cakes. It's the ingredients, it's the timing, it's the placing of ingredients together to get that specific cake, which is tasty for so many people. I think I would put it this way.
So I was going to ask you about RTT and comparing that to standard hypnosis.
Mhm.
So the name of this lovely woman again in Los Angeles who came up with RTT?
Marissa Peer.
Marissa Peer. So, wow, celebrities and famous people going to her. Obviously, these people may have been familiar with standard hypnotherapy
Absolutely.
practices and these sort of things, but they were drawn to her obviously because of word of mouth. This is how things happen. Friends says, "Oh
Yeah.
my God, I went and saw her, and had this amazing experience." So again, you've already said this, but I'm just going to ask you again to say it. How is this? What makes RTT um, so such a wow compared to classical hypnotherapy treatment?
So um, the way we got the explanation that we got, and I stress that because I've been practicing since beginning of this year. So when I speak about RTT and its power, I'm speaking about the experience that Marissa Peer has over 35 years, and other RTT therapists who have been practicing for longer than I do, right?
Sure.
So the explanation that they gave us was classical hypnotherapy consists of basically two parts. A very, very long induction. Induction is relaxation, where it's like a meditation, where you sit there with your eyes closed, and the hypnotherapist would guide you into relaxation. They will guide you into a relaxed state where you can, where your critical mind can go away, and where they get basically attention and focus of the unconscious mind. That's one part, quite long. Normally, it takes about half an hour or longer. And the second part would be positive, um, excuse me, either positive affirmations or also some tools which would take an issue which the client came with and try and flip it around. Let's say somebody is afraid of dogs, and we would then basically make a picture, create an image of a dog, which is scary to the client, but then we'll make it smaller, we'll make it further away, we'll make it somehow laughable at, or somehow ridiculous, so it's not scary at all. And because we're speaking with the subconscious or unconscious mind, we basically tell it to see it this way. Look at it. It is ridiculous. It's not scary at all. Look at it. You like in that relaxed state and a highly receptive state, a client is more likely to learn faster to overcome their phobia. Yes. And then the last part would be just only positive affirmations, and then just coming back to full awareness. RTT works with the core, with the reason. There are tools which would look at the dog as something which is not dangerous, but that is a very, very small part, and important too. But there is a very big and important part before that. And by the way, the induction is much shorter. The induction would take about 6 minutes. 4 to 6 minutes is the induction. And after that, we'd go to at least 3 scenes from the child or from the past, let's say, because it doesn't need to be childhood, but let's take the example with the dog phobia. Um, I think it's called kinophobia, if I'm not mistaken. But any phobia would work. We would go to the past, to those scenes where something happened, because we're not born with that phobia. No baby is born with fear of dogs or fear of spiders, fear of anything. Children or babies are scared of loud noises and of being dropped, because that's a survival mechanism. That's why we're here. That's evolution. But dogs, unless a dog attacked a child, they wouldn't be scared of them. So we find those situations and we address them. It's not about confronting, it's about addressing, it's about understanding what went wrong and learning that at that moment it wasn't possible for the client to cope with the situation. And after that, we do that part, which is the conventional hypnotherapy, also doing with making it not dangerous anymore, and then we'll do the recording as well. And I saw with my eyes how it helps. Just 1 session and no phobia.
So clarify for me. So the difference between RTT and standard hypnotherapy is that standard, the induction process could take 30 minutes, but RTT takes 6 minutes. And they both share in common where there was nothing but bad news and a negative belief. Now a buffer, a pillow, as it were, is placed there, which radically has a radical impact on the individual's association with that feeling, that story, whether it's true or whether it's false. That it's there. That story is there, and the modification of the story can modify a life.
Absolutely.
So, well, that's amazing. And when you're with so tell us more about your experience with the stutterer, or the stutterer, or the experience that you had personally with a stutterer. You said you've worked with a stutterer, and they've been how long have they been stuttering?
There were 2. One, the young man was stuttering for his whole life. He wasn't sure when it started. And he thought that it was his whole life, but it turned out in hypnosis that it wasn't. It turned out that he started stuttering when he was 5 or 6 years old, because something happened, because he got scared and something happened there. And but he didn't have a memory of that consciously. That memory came up in hypnosis. Especially difficult it was for him in companies of people, if there were people more than 3 or 4 people around him. If it was okay to talk with just one person, then he could talk. But if it was more than 3, he said, then he would start to stutter. And same with if he had to give a presentation at work. And after this session, actually I must say that it was his 2nd session. He tried an RTT session before, and he didn't go past the induction, and they stopped it because he was too scared. He was too scared to be taken into hypnosis. And with me, I was able to explain to him that it's safe, that it's okay, that I'm here to help. We started the induction, and he got a sore throat without even speaking. I was speaking. I was counting him down the stairs. There was, you have to imagine a staircase, which you walk down. And I think on stair number 8 or something out of 10, he started coughing. And I thought maybe he swallowed, you know, somehow unluckily, and then he started coughing. And it was, of course, unfortunate. So I asked him to come back, open up his eyes. He wanted to drink some water, so he did. And so and he told me nothing happened. It was just he got something in his throat. And I thought, just my assumption, that he was controlling, he was trying to be too controlling of what is happening. And the feeling of now losing control made him tense, made him cough in this case. And he couldn't speak. He started coughing, and he was coughing for like a minute or something. He couldn't say a word. And then when he did, I told him, if you want, we will go on. Just put a glass of water next to you if it makes you feel better and safer. And you have to know that whenever you feel uncomfortable, we stop. You just tell me. There is nothing I can make you do, because any hypnosis is self-hypnosis. And when I understood that, and when I was able to say this, to explain this to my clients, that made it much more, much easier for people who have difficulties to let go, to relax.
So I wanted to
Yeah.
jump in real quick. So Arthur has also asked a wonderful question. He says, before I found self-love, I believe I beat myself up. And I wanted you to talk a little bit about your experience with our self-love in general. I have observed that, just speaking from my own research, is that for the best of intentions, we beat ourselves up by whipping the mule, as it were, to the theory being that if we abuse ourselves, it'll force us into action, to take action. If we're afraid of moving forward, we will frighten ourselves into action. All of these strategies that people have embraced from childhood. Um, what are your thoughts on these strategies for success that are rooted in self-loathing and self-abuse? How, in the work that you do, how rooted have you found it to be as a serious component in holding us back, stopping us from pursuing our dreams, whether I'm worthy of something or not worthy of something, and so on? If you might, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that subject.
Well, this is again positive psychology, and I'm a great believer in positive psychology. If you try to force a child to do something with violence, with screaming at them, then of course, because you're bigger and stronger as an adult, you will make them do something, maybe, but they will hate you for it, and they won't do it if you're not looking. So, in the contrary, with positive psychology, if you show them something positive to strive towards, then it's so much better, because that's a positive cause of doing something. And so trying to force discipline and punish somebody or apply violence in order to push somebody towards something, that will make that person try to either run away from you or fight you. Because they are afraid of you. And I believe that there are two forces which basically drive us. It's the force of fear or the force of love. And fear is never good, right? So whenever we are afraid of something, whenever we are aggressive, angry, we are afraid. We're afraid that somebody is not understanding what we're saying. We're afraid that we're not heard. that we are not valued. That's all fear, and that's all very stressful. On the other hand, love is creativity, is flow, is that's when a child will open up, the creativity will open up, and I love also the flow, the whole. I think flow is the best thing to strive towards, because flow is a state where you can be mostly creative and mostly you can create something out of nothing, and you don't in that when you're in a state of flow, you don't feel your needs. You don't know if you want to eat, you don't know if you want to drink, if you're cold or warm. You're just in the flow, and that's a highly creative state, and that is only possible with love
Ah,
and authenticity.
you hit that on the head. So let me interject here. I have a couple questions for you. Arthur brought up, you use the word positive. Isn't love the better word? I wasn't loved as a child, so it impacted much worse on my speech. Um, I, I, so Erik is using this term flow, and so I wanted to explain my perception of what he's talking about. You see, when we're operating from self-loathing and self-hate, so Arthur, for example, the your perception of being unwanted and being hated, uh, and when that's embraced, then I am the unlovable one, and it moves us. I know that for myself because I experienced that also, um,
Mm-hmm.
which moves us into a state of distrust. So let's
Mm-hmm.
talk very simplistically. So we're either in a state of trust or in a state of distrust. When Erik's talking about flow, the flow state is a very higher conscious state to be in. And we ascend into that through the trust state. So you're in the state of faith, trust. It's all going to work out. It's going to be, this was the whole foundation for positive affirmation training, which was,
Mm-hmm.
hope. We give ourselves hope. I must self love. You must self love because you're all you've got. If you're a
Yeah.
public speaker on stage, you're
Yes.
on the stage. Where's your feedback loop? Do you have a demon in your head? You moron, you idiot, you jerk, you're so stupid, how you failed me, how you
Yeah.
this, how you that, this, that, the other thing. And to flip that script into, it's going to be all right, guy. I love you
Yeah.
with all my heart. You are my best friend in the world. And then we can use our attention to seek out the good, the right, and correct, breaking the habit of seeking out the bad, the wrong, and incorrect. For when I do, I will find it. And that in that
Mm-hmm.
moment, I will be incorrect. When I seek
Mm-hmm.
out the good, right, and correct, in that moment, I am correct. And where's my anxiety? Oh, so
Mm-hmm.
you see, I, in training performers, so my
Mm-hmm.
background is the stage, and Cookie and her amazing group, and you too, Arthur. Thank you so much for being an author of all of that. And um, um, self love is a requirement for TEDx. If you're going to stand on the red dot, you must self love to express yourself without a horror show, to be
Mm-hmm.
uninhibited.
Mm-hmm.
You must train yourself to seek out reward as the child does in the sandbox at playtime.
Absolutely.
The child does not play in the sandbox to amuse others, to get others to align with the child's point of view. The child
Yeah.
is seeking out reward, authentic, true reward. And I guess that's a great segue for you because you've spoken, Erik, about the authentic self.
Mm.
My God in heaven, how do we go from a lifetime of self abuse and then at some point we wake up and we go, love is where it's at? I must
Mm.
get on my side. For if I'm not on my side, who's going to be on my side? If you're staring into a camera, where's your feedback loop? It's
Yeah.
like, it's you. Um, am I closing myself? Am I supporting myself? Am I
Mhm.
inspiring myself? So I don't want to digress. I got to stay on this path of authentic self that you were talking about. Chase Gillis, this amazing man who's a stutterer, his whole premise is, hey man, go up to the cashier and stutter your ass off. It's like the learning to fall in love with the self, whatever that looks like, where
Yeah.
we are at, self-acceptance, authentic self. Take it away, Erik. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh my God, so many. So first of all, when you said um, that inner monologue, that inner loop of negative, punishing words, horrible words, we don't even say such words to people we don't like. We say the worst words to ourselves, and nobody even listening but ourselves, right? So what RTT does is exactly that. It finds what is the inner monologue? What is it that I'm saying to myself in a loop over and over and over again? And changing that into an inner cheerleader, basically, exactly what you said, saying it's gonna be all right. I'm enjoying this. I'm awesome. I'm incredible. I'm lovable. I'm authentic. I'm worthy. I'm enough. And what I do is enough. Always. Because I am. There is nothing I need to do to be enough. And I am the one who I wake up with every morning. I'm the one who is in my head. I'm the one and the only one, the first one, let's start with that, who is required to love me. That's me. I need to love me. And if I love me, then I will shine. I will shine that on the outside, and then people start seeing and perceiving that. They will see that person, they are shining, they are wonderful to be with. And they will, this is how we give permission to other people to love us, to feel attracted to us. They will come to us.
So how do
But
we
that
flip that?
doesn't.
How do we flip that? How do I go from being a self-hating person
Mm,
for those? This is so important for stutterers because I just want to. I'll lay the path for you.
yeah.
Look, in my working as a stutterer, listen, I mean, I'm sure there are shrinks and they've got all this stuff and they neural pathways. And my
Mm,
grandfather was a stutterer, therefore I am, and all this cool stuff. But here's what the
mm,
bottom line is, an adductor and electrical, that's all great. But the bottom line is what I see a lot of is I see a lot of self hate. I see a lot of, for speaking for stutterers, a lot of self hate, a lot of I'm not unforgiveness, a lot
mhm,
of I'm not okay. I see a lot of that. And the key word underneath all the stories is there's this piece of distrust. How
mhm,
the hell do we move from distrust? How do we begin the process of moving from the old habit, the old ritual of I distrust my voice, I distrust my experience, I distrust this life, I distrust myself,
mm,
in a start so this is a whole universe of distrust. How do
mm,
we cross over into this other reality where we can
mm,
begin having
mm,
trust and that I'm okay and
mm.
forgiving of myself and loving of myself? What are your recommendations? How do we do that?
I think one has to ask oneself, who says that stuttering is not okay? Stuttering is okay. Because if if I am, if I stutter, then this is me.
Right.
I exist. And that means that's okay. Because I am here. There are
Yes.
people who can't see. That's okay. There are people who
And
can't hear. That's okay.
Great
There
philosophers
are,
have said
uh,
that you see, if my stuttering is okay, this is the beginning of sanity.
mm,
Because there's a great philosopher in California. She's helped a lot of people. Her name is Byron Katie, and what
Byron Katie, I love her.
she talks about the what is.
Hmm.
Now, can you see the insanity? I am operating in a field of insanity if I stutter and I choose to make it not okay.
Yeah,
If stuttering is not okay and I stutter, I'm not okay. I
exactly.
am I'm at war with what is, as she would
Yeah,
put it. And I love that.
absolutely. Yeah.
So how do we move into the what is, please? How do we become sane where the sky is blue? I'm not going to war with the blue sky. It's
Hmm.
blue. That's just the way it is, and I embrace the blue sky.
Well, the thing is, if you look at Byron Katie's work, she would ask you, how do you feel if you think that stuttering is not okay? And she would then ask you, how would you feel if you wouldn't be able to think, if it wasn't possible for you? Who would you be without thought? If it wasn't even possible for you to think that stuttering is not okay. And do you know how everybody would answer? Almost everybody would answer, I would be free, relaxed. And that's what we need.
That's what we
And
need.
it doesn't mean the person will stop stuttering, but it means they will embrace it, and probably, most probably, they will stutter less. But that,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes, it does, but it's also, aren't we pulling a magical thread? Like isn't the core of your work about the attempt to pull the magical thread, which has a crescendo, which has an interlinking, which goes back through an ocean of suffering? Meaning,
mm,
if I start with I'm okay, but I'm
mm,
stuttering, but I stutter, and now and that's imperfect. I need to be perfect. Are you sure you need to be perfect to be loved?
yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
we start questioning beliefs, which we
Yes,
hold as true, unchallenged beliefs. And this creates a cycle of a new mindset, which is, wow, is a belief an unchallengeable thing? Or is it something that an aunt gave me, or my sister, or my dad, or a
exactly.
comment from somebody that I bought, I embraced, I held it as true, I don't
Hmm.
examine it? And you
Mm,
question that belief. It's not okay to stutter. And I question that, but I stutter and I am. And the moment that it truly can be okay to stutter, then what else can I accept about myself? There is a vibrational effect that's going to go down the line, and it's going to start other beliefs are going to pop up,
yeah,
and we can challenge. Is that true?
exactly.
Do I know for a fact that's true? Do you know that technology? And I'd love you to share about that, where if I have a belief, I'll never be loved. Like you work
Mm,
with people with hypnosis, they get into that relaxed state, then the guardian is gone. Oh, yeah, everything's fine, everything's groovy. Yeah, everything's great, Erik, everything's great. And relaxed state, I'll never be loved. I'll
mm,
never be good enough. And
mm.
then this whole notion of, are you sure? Do you know for a fact
Yeah.
that you'll never be good enough? Can you tell people about this technology that's so amazing? That's called challenging the belief. Could you share more about that?
Do you mean the work by Byron Katie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it true? Do you know for a
Yes.
fact it's absolutely true?
Her work is all about 4 questions and the turnaround. And the mastery is what she offers. And that I, in life coaching, I offer Byron Katie's the work as well, by the way. And what is important is to find that belief, to find it, because people don't even realize they have it. They think it's a fact what they're saying. If a person says stuttering is a bad thing, they think they just said something which is a fact, and that's just a belief.
Right. That's what it is.
Yes. So that's where it starts. So the work is all about finding the belief and then to question it, investigate the thoughts, investigate the beliefs. So stuttering is not okay. Are you sure? Can you be absolutely sure that it's true? And if the answer is always yes, then she goes on and asks you the third question. What do you feel if you believe the thought that stuttering is not okay?
Yeah. Is it true that stuttering is not okay?
That's the first question.
Yes. So you see, what people, when you watch this, I want you to understand the miracle of this. If you look up the etymology of words, it's amazing. Etymology teaches you to understand that a word, when it was developed, often is actually a psalm or a paragraph.
Mm,
It's a profound statement. Um, when you study etymology, consonant means con, which means with, and
mhm,
sonant means with sound. So what? But if you study, it means with vowel.
mm.
Consonant means with the vowel.
In Russian as well, by the way, I'm originally Russian, so the Russian word for a consonant is согласная, and that's just exactly that. So is with, and glasная is a vowel. I
Oh
never
my
thought about
God.
that. This is
Oh my
interesting. This
God.
is
Oh my
wonderful.
God. That's such a vindication. That's so exciting. Um, because,
Wow.
when you look up dictionary consonant,
Mm.
I don't know. It means it's a
It's
B,
a
it's a
Latin
C, it's a
word.
D, but no,
Mm,
it's a thing. But going back to not lose this whole notion of belief. So etymology for belief is it translates to what I love, or I'll be direct, my
mm.
love. Belief doesn't mean truth. If
Yeah.
you go back, it's German in the Germanic. And see, it's so great. We went into the Russian because the Germanic into the Russian. See, the more light is shed because you will look at it like a diamond from another angle, and you go, "Oh,
Yeah.
it means with the vowel, guy."
Mm,
Like
mm.
with vowel. I'm like, to hear you say that is so exciting to me. You have no idea how much research it took me in English to
Ah,
come up with
mm,
vowel. You have
mm,
no
mm.
idea
You should have
because
asked me.
yeah, I should have just asked you. But anyway, so it's the beloved. So belief,
Mm.
the word belief means beloved. So
We
it means
love what's
I
familiar.
hold, I
Mm,
hold as
mm,
true my
mm,
beloved.
mm.
So
Even if it's a negative belief, I love
even if
it
it's a negative,
because
I love it,
mm,
my
yeah,
love. So we better watch it, and I tell everyone, my religious friends, they get nervous. Challenge beliefs. I say, I don't want you to question your faith, your religion. I want you to question what you hold as truth or your beloved. I'll,
mhm,
I'll never be loved. I'm not good enough. My mother said my voice is ugly. I have a client who's remembers her stuttering. Her
mm.
mother told her voice was ugly. But you just it's your
Horrible
voice
thing
is so
to say to
so
yourself.
every time she create a sound, she was afraid that her mother was going to pull her love from her. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
Belief and the belief, the beloved. So tell us more about this amazing notion, the science of challenging
yeah,
the beloved. I'll never be loved. Attractive women are not attracted to me. These things that were
yeah.
formulated by a 7-year-old and never challenged,
Mm.
or a
Absolutely.
5-year-old. People don't know
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Please acknowledge what I'm saying is true. Have
Yes.
you found that there are people that are 50 years old that are
Mm.
holding sacred a beloved belief that they embraced when they were 4 years old, which is an insane notion? Tell us more
Exactly.
about that especially when people are in a relaxed state. Do they actually like, you'll never be loved by anybody. You'll never be good enough. I'm not good enough. I'll always
Yeah.
be second best. What kind of things do you hear from people when they
I
get
hear
into the
exactly.
guardian is gone?
This is you got it. That's bullseye. Because uh, first you spoke about holding beliefs, negative beliefs, and not wanting to let go of them. And what I wanted to add to that is, even if a belief is hurtful, we hold on to it. because it is familiar. It is easier for us to hold on to a negative belief, to a negative and uh, uh, um, harmful habit
The
of
old
ours.
friend, the old
Yeah,
friend.
because it's familiar, because our brain wants to be efficient, and our brain is efficient if it does what it did over and over and over and over again,
Listen
even
to
if it
that word he
harms us.
just used, people. He said familiar. Know the root of that word, family. Continue. It's my family, familiar.
It's my
You know, it's
family, exactly. Even if it's a negative belief, I take it into my family, and I call it my family now. So, but what we can do is we can make familiar unfamiliar and vice versa, and that is what RTT does.
how do we
That,
shatter these? How do we shatter these chains that have chained us to the wall? We've chained ourselves to the
mm,
wall.
mm,
We willingly, what is that whole story about the jailer? You are the prisoner, and who is the victim of, and you are the jailer with the keys. You are
mm,
you are in the cell of your own creation, and you are the
yes.
guard with the keys on the outside who can
Mm,
let you out.
mm. But
And
wouldn't, but wouldn't. And
but wouldn't.
exactly this what you asked before, like what people say in hypnosis, and that's just today I had a session with somebody, and they saw situations from their childhood where they just within minutes they were on spot. Like that specific child was 3 years old and felt, I am unlovable, I'm not worthy, and tears came running down their cheeks. And you know why? Because that belief, which was formed then when they were 3, is still here, is still present, is still running the show. Because our subconscious mind is running the show. To 95% of what we are doing is run by our subconscious mind. And that's what has been formed and created until we are 7. That's when the base, that's the foundation of our life is created until we're 7. After that, it's just it's just autopilot.
See, people, I want you to see the magic of what he's and the power of what Erik is talking about here. It is a stunning awareness to know that there's an old tape recorder in the back of your head that captured
Mhm.
something, and that you held as the beloved, and that tape just plays.
It
So
plays. Exactly.
whenever you come up to, so I'll give you an example. I'll give you a perfect example. You can be my shrink, Erik. I'll give you this one. It's okay. So you're my shrink. All right. So when I was a junior in high school, I distinctly recall having a voice in my head say that beautiful blonde women are are dangerous. Stay away
Mm,
from them.
mm,
Don't ever ask a beautiful blonde woman out. It wasn't until after high school, after college, I was doing a lot of work. I was listening to tons of Deepak Chopra. You must love yourself and let go. And I was listening
mm,
to that, and I remembered when I was going through some old pictures, and my first girlfriend. I was so proud of her because she was so beautiful, and she had a British accent. And her
mm,
mom was a friend with my mom, and she had this short little blonde haircut. She was gorgeous, and she had a British accent, and she was my first girlfriend.
mhm.
And one long afternoon, we're babies. We don't know anything. I think I was 5 or 6 years old. We we decided to play a game of I'll show you mine if you show me yours
Sure.
in our back bedroom. And my mother came in with we didn't have our
Mm.
clothes on, and she flipped out, and she
That
freaked out, and
that's it.
she looked at me like I was a demon, and she pulled her
Mm.
love out of my world in that moment. And the girl and her mother left in shame, and that was the end of the relationship. Never saw that girl again. and the horror of my mother basically telling me, I'm so shamed and so shocked and
Yeah.
have no resources for what has just taken place in this room.
Mm,
Fundamentalist Christian background, very
mm,
simplistic. There was never nuance for my mother. There was never subtlety but this then and the other thing. It's very black and white reality. And
mm,
that experience of her tearing that pride that I had. She was my girlfriend. We were
mm.
girlfriend. We decided we were, we just decided we're playing
Yes.
girlfriend and boyfriend. She's my girlfriend and I'm her boyfriend. And we
Mm,
were, for that day. And then that whatever that recording was, blonde-haired women stay away. It'll destroy your life. It's life-threatening.
yeah.
Blonde-haired women are life-threatening. They're
Yeah.
life-threatening. And they're terrible people. They're terrible.
Mm,
It's like what a bent. And this is the survival of a 5-year-old, 6-year-old boy
yeah.
creating a story, a beloved story of destruction, which he didn't even know that he tucked away. And that damn little tape recorder kept playing. It didn't need batteries. It just kept
Yeah.
the background
Forever.
forever. What are your thoughts on that, Erik?
Oh my God. Thank you so much for sharing. This is a kind of story, exactly what I hear over and over. Like, of course, oftentimes we remember them consciously, but often we don't know what's the connection, um, what, um, what consequences we have in our lives because of that one specific story. What beliefs did we take out of it? So what I heard was that both of you were 5. It means you were younger than 7. It means you were still operating out of your 5. It's more it's already alpha waves, a lot of alpha waves in your brain. There've been studies. For example, Joe Dispenza is explaining a lot about brain waves and different ages of children and how their brains operate. But interesting is why I mentioned that wavelength is if you are in gamma or delta brainwave, alpha as well. That is when you are not critically, logically thinking and questioning things. That is also the hypnotic state. That is also the dream state. That's why children are so in the moment and so dreamy sometimes. And that's why they just absorb information without questioning. That is why it's so important.
So they're
That,
literally that open? Like they don't have a
yeah,
guardian yet? They have no defender?
everybody is individual, of course. We can't globally say like, oh, this
But
is the thing
generalities,
for
you don't
everybody.
have to be
But
hyper whatever
generally,
with me. Generally.
there's been studies with EEG measurements. Those are measurements of brainwaves where children have been investigating. They've looked what kind of brainwaves are mainly to what percentage operating in the brains of the children. How is it developing with age? How is it with adults? So when you and I are speaking, this is the beta brainwave. We are speaking, we are listening to each other, and we are thinking, we are critically rethinking everything, right? And then we think of an answer, and then there it comes. Children under 7, that's like 7 is like statistically the border, let's say, but of course with some people it's before, with some it's after. They are absorbing things, and their critical mind is not yet formed as much. And that means that as adults, we must be especially careful with our reactions on what happens. And that's what happened in your case when you and your friend, your girlfriend, you were doing something. You were doing something children do. Children do this because they want to learn the world. They want to learn each other, their own bodies. This is the most natural thing in the world. So nothing happened there. What happened was the inadequate reaction of your mother. So screaming, looking at you in a certain way, screaming at you, saying that that is horrible, disgusting, whatever, and your interpretation of what she did, that's where the belief developed. You interpreted her look as you said, she looked at me as if I was some kind of demon. So maybe she didn't even say the word demon, but you did. You saw that. And that's what stayed. And also you saw a danger because your mother is some kind of, she's a person you depend on. She is your God at some point until at some point children start to question their parents. Let's look at teenagers. They are absolutely against anything parents say, right? There also I have a child, he's 2.5. I think now is the phase which is starting, this phase where he's trying all the limits, he's trying to push all the buttons, of course, but that is not a critical mind. That is just him also developing and also investigating the world and investigating us as parents. So where was I? I think I lost it. So it's important that what not yeah, your mother as your God, as somebody you don't question. Meaning, if she says you're a demon, or you understand that in her, just how the way she looks at you, that you're a demon because you are playing with that little girl, this wonderful, lovable little girl, then it must be her, she must be dangerous, and it must be you. You must be somehow wrong, somehow off. Because it's never the mother, because the mother, she's the person you depend on. You need connection, you need love from her. And if you, as a child, don't get it at that moment, you don't question her, you question you.
Wow. Yeah. So, my God, how many of these recordings do we have running? And we think it's like wisdom or God talking to us, or it's true. It's just what we know is true. It's just,
Mm,
this is what's true,
mm, mm,
and it's unchallenged. So I guess
mm,
I have my process where I tell people you must challenge any belief between you and your freedom.
mm. Oh
So
yeah, I love that. Yes.
challenge them. Is it true? Do I know? I'll never be able to sing. Oh, really? Is it true? Do you know for a fact it's true? Do you know? Uh, would you bet $1,000,000 on it that it's absolutely true? And of course, when people examine these things, they go, "Well, not really. I mean, but it seems highly unlikely." Oh, it's unlikely. Truth, is it
Mm,
unlikely? Do you know for a fact it's unlikely? What I often do is I throw this one at people that I just want to. We are so innocent and we are so simple and we know so few things. I love to throw this
mm,
one at people. So, do you trust your beliefs? Yes, I say. Good. Is the world round?
yeah.
And they'll go, of course. And I go,
How do you
really?
know?
How do you know the world is round? Did you get in your rocket and fly into outer space? And on your way back, you went, ah, it's round.
Mm,
I verified it. Well, no, just everybody knows that it's, and that's terrifying. I mean, it's
mm,
something as rudimentary as they'll just say, well,
mm,
this is what is.
mm,
If it's that easy to be that, to embrace, to not know the difference between faith, I have no problem with faith-based content. This is what I tell people.
mm,
I have two buckets. I have verified data and I have faith-based content. I try to keep it as clean as I can because I know that I'm totally insane because I have all of these wacky beliefs. I know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But and that's part of self-love. Faith-based content, verified content. There's so little that I verified. And I try to in my life and operating. That's why when I create my training exercise, I don't want it to be dogma. I want it to be mechanical. I want it to
Mm.
be you can verify it because if you can verify it yourself, then you have just moved into authority. You're not embracing on faith my stupid belief. And now I'm creating I like to hope that I'm helping create a powerful and strong human being with a little less doubt in you that's based on self-love and verification, coming home to yourself and liberating yourself
Mm.
from one more chain. Hmm.
That's exactly it. Coming home to oneself. Because self-love, that's home. Anything else, it's outside of home. And that's stress. That's suffering. And yeah, there is the way of questioning your beliefs. And you can, in my opinion, I question every belief where I find myself tense. If I think I'm somehow tense, it is an indication that I am not loving what is. And if I'm
Uh,
not loving what is,
wow.
then there is a belief.
I'll reflect this back to you. A great philosopher friend of mine, he operates in a very simplistic way, and he gave me this advice. If it's heavy, it's a lie. And if
Yeah.
it's light, it's true. I
Mm.
was like, and he's like, test the math.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And what I found is either I go through life and there are two ways I go through life and I just come across those tensions, those heavy rocks. And that's every time a chance for me to evolve. That's how I see it. Or there is what I found a huge shortcut. And that is RTT. That's what I found so far. And I wouldn't think that I need shortcuts because, and I wouldn't believe in shortcuts. I didn't before because I did so much work on me. But then when I saw what happens in RTT, I saw that like within half an hour, tears are running on my face. Although I thought I've worked everything out, or almost everything. And whenever tears flow, that means we've dug gold, right? That's so good.
The
That the rest,
onion, the layers,
yes,
the never-ending onion.
mm, well,
Built moment to moment to moment to moment.
yeah,
Before we wrap up, I always like to acknowledge when I spot genius in people. And you have a huge gift that is your gift of your training is massive. But you have another gift that you can leave us with, and that is you came into Cookie's group with an open heart and to share your discoveries with the world with an absolute open heart. And I see that on one hand, and I admire that very much. And then on the other hand, I look in the group at the population of the group, and I'm greatly disturbed because I see a group that has a membership of over 5,000 people in it. And I see that Cookie, in her wisdom, says, face your fear, do the daily table topic. She knows the power of feeling the fear and doing it anyway,
mm,
of
yeah,
putting it out there, feeling the anxiety and
mm,
sitting with it. Oh, hello. Hello,
mhm,
how are you? And we sit
yeah,
with it. And obviously, you're a man who is very comfortable with his little imps. Just and that jiggly feeling. A friend of mine said, "It's
Mhm.
not anxiety, it's aliveness." Uh, and you can do that. So my hope is that you can give stutterers um, there's this common thing. Doesn't seem like a medical condition to me of non-participation. Um, and based on your bravery and your willingness to go forward, what advice can you give those, and what are they missing out on by remaining in the shadows? And what, how, how can people go from a state of observation into participation? What sort of tools are needed? What sort of buffer is required? What sort of resource or control is needed? Any recommendations to
Mm,
help them facilitate that forward movement into participation within something
mm.
that will be amazing for them if they are willing to do it?
Well, I'm always careful with giving advice of any kind, especially in in topics where I don't have my own experience,
Well,
especially
then
in this.
let me give you a cushion.
Mhm.
Put this, put the following phrases on the front of anything you say. In my opinion, or speaking only for myself and my own traveling, my own journeys, the way I move through life. Speaking for myself and how what I've decided to do, what
Right.
gave me the courage to come
I
into
love
this
that.
group and say, "Here it is." And be willing to receive. Who do you think you are? And what license do you have? And what schooling did you obtain your?
So, my journey on my life journey, I have discovered that the first thing you need to do is to embrace who you are. And if you want to change something in you, please do. But first accept what you are, who you are, and where you are. If you want to change your job, your career, love where you are first, and then you can improve, you can evolve. If you hate what you have, if you hate what you are, then you will always be running. You will always do out of whatever you do out of fear. And this is not how creativity works. Create out of love. That's what I can share.
Create out of love. I love that. What a note to end on. And then I'll ask you for any closing comments that you have or anything you'd like to share in wrapping up. But I'd like to just say in wrapping up, people, there are two ways that in my life and my experience, what I've discovered for myself, what works for me is there are two paths, one of distrust and one of trust. And I am able to trust, speaking for myself, because I challenge what I hold as true. And I know that I have a tendency to be negative. I have a tendency to distrust. And I know how absolutely untrue it is, even though I feel it. Is this a life-threatening situation, or does it feel like a life-threatening situation? I get very specific. I'm going camera.
Mhm.
Yeah, it sure feels like a life-threatening. No, is it a life-threatening situation? What, you mean people are going to stab me and horrible things are going to happen? Yeah, that's what I'm asking you. No, I guess it's not a life-threatening situation. Okay, come home to yourself, be with yourself, settle down, focus. What would you like to share? What would you like to contribute? It all comes back to what Erik was talking about, which is self-love, self-acceptance. Uh, do not fight with what is. I stutter. Great.
What
I
else?
am. What else do I am? I. What else do I have? Well, I'm a very loving person. I'm very this and I'm that. And what is good, right, and correct about me, and build upon that. what is good, right, and correct. And that gives me ease and that gives me peace. And now I
Mm,
start to relax and I can stay on the path of, once I get on it, I can stay on the
mm,
path of what can I trust?
mm.
What can I trust in this moment? And more trust and surrender to that, and more trust and surrender to that. What is good, right, and correct? What else is good, right, and correct? What else is good, right, and correct in this moment? What else is good, right, and correct? And it evolves into a room with nothing but evidence of good, right, and correct. It's all I can see, it's all I can find, it's all I can feel. And I can enjoy this moment and enjoy my company. That's all I want to say on that note. But other than I love you all, and I want you to experience the kind of trust that Erik is talking about. And anything you'd like to say in closing, Erik? God, it's been such a pleasure being with you, and I'm looking forward to more.
I love your wrap up and enjoy your company, your own company. I love that as well. Thank you so much for having me here. Just to mention that, just for people, if they want to find me on Instagram, not to wonder why there are so little followers. My Instagram account has been hacked 3 days ago, unfortunately, and I've lost all my following. So I appreciate of spreading the word and sharing. It's Tea Time
Yes,
Coach.
and absolutely. So let me be the host who snaps out of his love fest and gets back on business. Erik, where can people find out more about you? Where are you in this internet world? I will put this a little banner in front of you when you give us that
Thank you.
information, and
Yeah,
fire
that's
away.
it's Tea Time Coach, as T for transformation time. It's time to be yourself. That's also what it means. Tea Time Coach, and or teatimecoach.com on the internet. I also have two YouTube accounts. One is called Tea Time Coach, and the other one is Tea Time. The difference is the Tea Time Coach is in English, and Tea Time is in Russian completely. So please reach out to me. Of course, I also have Facebook, but Instagram and YouTube are the places I especially create content.
Wow. Well, it's been heavenly being with you, and God bless you in the work that you do. Thank you for lifting suffering. Thank you for assisting others in um, unchaining themselves from beloved beliefs that have uh, there are beliefs that serve us, and there are beloved notions that serve us, and there are beloved notions that don't. And thank you for helping free them of the beloved notions that don't make life easier.
Thank you so much, Guy, for having me. It was a pleasure for me. Thank you so much.
Such a pleasure. To be continued. Thank you, and looking forward to more of your insight on cookies. We need people like you that please post and share. I discovered this, and this is what this happened when we did that, and blah 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 blah.
Oh,
And so, thank you for your support and sharing your love the way you do. And I'm very grateful that we spent this time together. So thank you
thank
so
you.
very much.
Thank you.
So ciao for now, and I'll talk to you soon.
Ciao,
Thank you
ciao.
so
You
much.
too.
You bet. Bye bye.
Bye bye.